Sure, so I'd be happy to clarify that. Sarah would continue minutes, but she would just document the time following the close of the motion.
My understanding was I was just gonna do what I do and just add that
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay.
Or the close of the motion is the opening of the next agenda item. So
She
it's-
just wants you to note when the item
When the
starts
next
to
item
the
starts.
discussion.
Because people don't wanna rewind.
Another way of saying it, right?
Yes, but better, because if you're a citizen or even a trustee, you don't wanna go to the end of it and have to like back up and keep backing up and you don't know what you're gonna get to, so it's just flipping it.
Okay, so that one's clarified, so these are ones that are kinda on the top burner, and then, oh, that's them.
And so, what about other committees? Did we talk about any, like, referring, I see human relations and I see plan commission, but I don't see like CDA.
So CDA had the one of which they jointly submitted
Yep.
with both me and trustee Amenta.
Yep.
And so,
What about like the housing study? Is that just?
so
a
that was
study?
approved actually on
Okay.
Friday and.
So that's why it's not, okay.
Yeah, so we
okay.
focus on the initiatives, we're focusing on 2020. Some inherently we start work on in 2019, once we kind of go through the process, but yeah, that's in motion and was on the 2019 work plan.
I guess one question is, are there any initiatives, I mean, I went back and looked at our last meeting and listed everyone's initiatives, and I think, are there any initiatives that you guys feel like should be included that aren't?
I mean, yeah, as one who wasn't, as one who wasn't at the meeting, I tracked, I think that these highlight a lot of the ones that I would have chosen. You know, I definitely do wanna piggyback, welcoming village ordinance, on, you know, I realize that it has to wait a little bit, but I don't want that to get dropped. But I was, you know, when I saw kind of what happened here, I liked our choices. I think they're good consensus choices.
And was there any other implementation? Like I knew we did parking and transportation, but was there another one I thought that we were like, oh, we might need money for that?
We did talk, I thought we talked about what would come out of the housing study. But I think we talked about that might not be, like, are we gonna have the implementation from the analysis of the housing study in 2020?
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Or maybe we don't know that yet. I'm not that
I
close
think
to
we
that
will, I
study.
mean,
Okay.
the study will be done
By
by 2020, yeah.
okay.
And then you'll put these in the list of committees, correct? Like we're signing them to?
Sure, first the step will be to look at the work plan to see how we schedule it in, and then I would come back and take a look at that. So that's just one of the reasons it's not at the forefront of the process, it's kind of establishing in the overall scope of things, how it looks, and then plugging in from there.
Okay, and then we'll update it with Human Relations Commission, because they're working on picking what they wanna do, correct? I'm good with that.
Alright.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any questions as we go along, please just let me know, but I'm happy to share with you all the work plans.
I think it would be worthwhile after budget for you to come with a work plan and for.
Yeah.
just
Oh, I
because
plan on it.
It's helpful for
Yep.
us to see
You
the
bet.
big picture of what's
So-
being worked on
and-
and what we're doing.
And this year, like last year in January, you were provided with it, we update them internally quarterly. Some departments more than others based upon, you know, juggling of timing. I'm looking at Leanne only because she's like, I'm in my work plans all the time. You know, just kind of updating and refreshing that's why we update them quarterly. But, we'll get it out to you in December, cause we'll be ahead, we're a little bit more prepared now this year, so.
Okay. Yep, and I think like public safety, if we go ahead and approve, doing the police station, it'll go to public safety committee, correct? Like some updates for 2019 and 2020? We did that for the police station, the first phase, with the committee all the time, updates.
Did
I
it?
would imagine that's where that would seem to make sense, that it would come to public safety.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything they would design and then the bid, we'd put it out to bid.
Okay.
But as that process kind of went through, public safety would receive any updates that were necessary throughout it, right?
Like,
Sure,
if
I
cost
mean,
overruns, is
the
there
chief
a-
would be happy to do that. I'd also intend to provide that to the whole group
Okay.
as well, just because.
Yeah, either we
Yeah.
go to public safety and I could provide it to the group, or we
Sure.
just probably
Yeah,
provide it to the
that's
group
great.
directly in the cow.
Okay.
Either way.
All right, and then when you say new business, last question, and then we can move on. When you say new business in your memo, where'd it go? Strategic planning, there's one under new business, and I didn't know what that falls under. I don't know where it is. but
Was it in here?
It might have been,
Yeah.
yeah. So this is just for board?
Yeah, that's if we had something that's still outstanding, you know, or we had something already on a schedule that's like, it's a placeholder, so that, I just wanted you to know that,
It's out there.
It's coming.
It could be for board, full board.
correct, this is new business full board.
Full board, okay. Alright. Right, and then, I don't know how we incorporate what the committees are doing that aren't on this list for 2019 and 2020 as they start
Well,
formulating.
we have those annual report, I mean, we have those
Okay.
reports, and I don't know what they're.
And they're all uploaded already on the website, so if you go to the website page, you'll see all of the 2018 annual reports, and then you'll see by committee, the initiatives that they were looking to work at.
And they're
towards.
just gonna work towards those?
I
Okay.
think, correct, I mean, the board's being cleared in terms of what, resources their priorities are going to be moving towards. So I'm gonna follow up, as I said in here, with the staff liaisons and the committees, just to talk about, and also let them know, you know, and inform them of what the board's priorities are moving forward.
Okay.
So Rebecca, out of curiosity, do you need a motion on this item, or is this?
I would, well, we're not scheduled for it now, but I would like one, when we go into open session, or under new business, pardon me, at the regular board meeting, it's on the agenda.
Oh.
It's the last item, so,
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay.
just because we're, just as a group, we just agreed not to act on stuff in the town.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't reinsert the memo into the packet at that point, but,
Oh, there it is, yeah.
All right.
but if you have, I mean, please no one ever wants to talk to me about scheduling things, but, no, except for you. But if people do have
Yeah.
questions, you know, like, just know that I'm happy to help answer them anytime, or if my list didn't make sense to you.
So are we approving then the education of unlearning, like the costs associated with it when we get to full board today?
So the initiative is approved, and then we would be moving forward to include those within the budget.
Same thing with Homewood Park canoe launch,
Correct.
bocce ball, we'll put, if there's any costs associated with it.
Isn't bocce more of a study? I mean, just to be clear.
Yeah, so
Okay.
one of our next steps on that would actually be to pull together those stakeholders and
Okay.
starting to look at some of the
Yeah,
plans.
because
So I'm not gonna pull the trigger on that if it wasn't something that you guys were
Yeah,
gonna
because we have the Little League field that wants to,
Yep,
needs to go
you
there, so
got
we
it.
have to find a place, and trust me, I like bocce, I think I've made it clear. in my year on the board.
But I'm gonna look forward to your team uniforms.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go out and play a lot of
We
it.
have, we should have board meetings in bocce instead of that before.
And I would like to keep capital budgeting or planning on in the committee somewhere floating around, and it doesn't mean that you need to prioritize it, but if there's time over the next year and a half, it would, if the budget committee wants to work on it, I think it would be a good idea.
I agree.
Problem with that?
No.
I mean, you've got your fleet right now, you've just done your whole fleet capital planning, I mean, like. it's-
Yeah, they did some really great work.
So I think it's just facilities, right?
It's probably less work than what was done for the fleet, so.
So facilities is something that we have as a placeholder going into 2020 to review those. They came out and we're planning to start that to include the
Where's that?
rent. It was in the village managers, and then also in collaboration with Public Works. As Leanne kind of mentioned to you at one of the last meetings, she
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah, I thought we were gonna look at DPW's facilities, right?
well, we're doing an overall look at the DPW organization.
Okay.
But just to start, we wanna get like a running list of each of our facilities and when timelines up for different sessions of repair, you know, HVAC systems, just the general ones, and then work into that a little bit as we move forward.
Would that fall under here?
So that is actually already,
Is it 2019?
yeah, it's not showing up under your work plan. The organizational study, for an example, is something that also is falling in under the work plans already. You didn't specify it as an initiative, in terms of these top, but you heard from me at the last meeting that we're intending to do that. We have a draft work plan set out.
Would that go to committee?
We haven't got to
Okay.
that yet.
That's where it would show up on our, you know, you have your internal work plans, but what do we wanna know what the whole list is, like, this was good, cause, but if, what is for 19 and 20, what's the list of what we're working on?
Mhm.
Would be very
Is the
helpful.
DPW study, I forget, did we just say a consultant or no?
It was decided to have a consultant.
So that'll come through.
Yeah, and that's also another
Budget.
consider,
Uh-huh.
right, so
Yeah.
we're submitting that within the scope of the budget.
That's great. I think that's my only confusion was, I just want a list. You have one, so you're feeling pretty confident, like it's crystal
Yeah.
clear.
And I wanna have you have one.
But I want one. I want it to be crystal clear on the things that staff, that our administration is working on from this point till our, you know, incorporating the initiatives that we have talked about in this memo. So somewhere, if it's broken out in committees, that's why it says is gonna go to Public Works, you know, obviously that's where it would go. If it's not on that committee, somewhere it needs to show up for us, so, just so we know it, because I completely forgot about that. I think it's great.
I love this show.
I think it's great, but I forgot about it, and then I'm like, wait a minute, what do you know when you come back? Okay, anybody else?
That's it for me.
All right, we can then move on to our next agenda item, which is, discuss vehicle and equipment replacement standards. Leanne? Annette? Mark?
So we've got, I think we've got an extra first page in the cow, so just skip that first page and go to the one that has vehicle and equipment replacement standards on it. One of the takeaways from last year's budget cycle was, I think there was a sentiment to more formally engage in a process of evaluating our equipment and formalizing some of the behind-the-scenes work that staff does that ultimately results in requests for equipment replacement coming to the board. So this is the output from staff in response to that general sentiment. You know, so we've got pretty much five bullet points for some standards and guidelines. You know, using a multi-factor rating system for EPWA for vehicles, identifying primary and secondary uses for vehicles and other heavy equipment. Our goal is not to defer the replacement of vehicles or equipment until it becomes a critical or immediate need. And obviously that's intuitively, we need our equipment in service. As well as the fact that there is a significant lag time in ordering equipment. So items that are approved by the board this November may not get here until February or March of 2021, depending on the type of equipment. So when items are rated that they're up for replacement, we also have to consider that there could be at least a year before they actually get here and get in service.
Are we gonna be able to talk about the standards? You just mentioned there was the five rating.
There's full 5 bullet points here on the memo.
Yep, I read it.
And then, so those are self-explanatory. The APWA standards are the left side of Appendix A, which is a busy-looking page, but again, it includes 5 metrics for evaluating equipment that are additive to reach a total score for the replacement criteria. And that is a guide staff will be using to evaluate which equipment should rank higher on the replacement rating scales compared to others. And then, of course, you know, we take some firsthand personal, professional experience on that and come forth with budget requests for the board to consider. And that's pretty much, you know, we have a capital life cycle graph that I got out of something from GFOA. And then the general guidelines on computer equipment replacements. And again, a little more formalization of the reasons we do what we do and how we derive those metrics to bring to the board for their consideration during the budget cycle.
Can I ask, before we get into specifics, but, I remember we had this conversation in budget last year, and it was me who brought it up, and there was a list. I was more interested, this is justification of why you bring it forward, so I see that, so we have the justification, it's still gonna be the same, and you've been doing it, so. The requests were, how many, so you show us all the trucks, but then it's like, well, how many are doing, can we group them so we understand?
That'll be the next item on the
Okay.
agenda here this evening.
Okay, so that was my one question, and then the other question was, for the standards, like the overall conditional rating, like for the body and the interior, why is that equal to how many miles there are? So the rating, you get 5 points, you know, and I'm looking at each one, and I see that some of them are bumping up because the interior isn't great.
I don't condition the interior. It's as an overall condition rating of the entire vehicle. So it wouldn't be
the
just an
body.
interior rating. It would be a
I
body
think it
condition
said
rating.
both in the memo, but okay. I just feel like do they all have to be equal? That, to me, it might be rusty, but it has 20,000 miles on it, so you're getting 5 points because the exterior or condition of the vehicle is, not so good. I just wouldn't weigh that as much as.
And again, these are guidelines developed by the APWA
Yeah.
to help evaluate equipment. And that's where specific discretion from department heads and the board can be used to evaluate, competing interests on
So,
that. I mean, no matter what you do, you're picking some subjective measure,
mhm.
on what you might rate them. So it's just designed to be a cumulative total. And in the aggregate,